I want to start off by a quote with William Butler Yeats. He states that education is not the filling of the pail, but the lighting of the fire. And as I reflect on those words, I realize that I lit the fire under several of the nursing students in the class. At the end of the presentation, a couple of them came up to me and asked me if I would be interested in presenting an oral health presentation to the nursing staff as well as caregivers at the facility that they both worked at. And when I thought about it, to me it was a compliment that I am or I can be a good educator, health promoter, and have the ability to do so. Although I found the one challenge was managing learners. Of course, being a new student, learning how to present is somewhat of a challenge until you get experience, but I think the other challenge is knowing how to manage a classroom behavior, especially when we're talking about adult learners. That can be a slightly more challenging. But what I thought was, as the teacher was in there also observing, or in the classroom, listening to the presentation, I also felt that he should have stepped in or made sure that his classroom was respectful to the speaker. And I didn't see any of that transpire. So that was a lesson learned for me, that I want to make sure that when I'm an educator in a classroom, I want my students to be respectful to the person who's presenting in my class, whether it's an outside source or a classmate. Characteristics of a good educator, I believe, is one that possesses be an initiative, that is a self-starter and is able to be a proactive approach to organize programs, that solves everyday problems associated with them, interpersonal skills, teamwork. For me, that is a huge one as well too. Strong work ethics, and one that I'm constantly working on is communication skills. The area that I feel that I need improvement in presenting during this presentation, I believe, and I know this is true, because I noticed that I had a lot of pause words and I wasn't quite sure if it was behavior as well as nervousness, and then also the disruption kind of going on at the same time. So I have to be very mindful of that the next time I present. And making sure that eye contact. I did a pretty good job, but I still feel that area can also be improved. The instructor did say that he felt that my presentation should have been geared more to the actual practice or implementing, but that's not what my intent was. So I need to really assess that, making sure that the content is about what my goal is, my outcome. But my goal was, and the outcome was, to educate them on the benefit of interprofessional collaboration with dental hygienists. And he felt that there should have been more content to actual implementing, which I had indicated that that's almost like another topic because it's such a large topic. Interprofessional collaboration is such a huge topic. There's a lot to it. But I will be very mindful of that and recognize that I need to make sure that the content is clear. The tools that I used to overcome, I did have a handout, or in the handout I had notes, but I found that it was difficult for me to look down at notes, try to talk to them, and then try to keep track of the PowerPoint simultaneously. But again, that comes with experience. But what I was really concerned with, because I went to a conference here back in November, it was a dental hygienist who was also a nurse presenting on dental hygienists in a hospital setting. She had a wonderful PowerPoint, fabulous, with great images. But when she spoke, her voice was just a monotone reading reading her handout or her notes. So I felt that I was really trying to focus on not sounding like I'm reading notes to make it more natural. Again, that also comes with experience. My learning objectives, my activity learning didn't go as well as I planned. I think as soon as I had ordered lunch for the students, and it was supposed to have been delivered at 11:30, I was done with my presentation at 11:15, and a student was asking me a question. Once I finished, I was going to give them instructions that we were going to break out into small groups and start on the learning objectives. But right about that time, the instructor walked in and said, "Lunch is here," and that set the motion of the class where they started getting up and getting lunch. And I didn't know how to take control of that. So I let them get their lunch. So I had to remodify my learning objective by limiting the questions in each one of them from 3 to 1. I asked the students once they were finished to break out into groups or partner with the person next to them. I was able to get some information feedback from the learning objective, but not as much as I had anticipated. That was another lesson to learn, that if I do bring lunch in, I want to make sure that I give complete instructions and meet with the instructor to actually go over exactly what I'm going to do, my time frame. That was a learning lesson. So next time I will get with the instructor. I'm telling my presentation, and he knew I had 2 hours. So I'm not sure how I got skirted a short, about 45 minutes. But being new, that was another challenge. But I'll work on those. These are things that I have written down for future reference. Educational experience. I had one other educational experience about 6 years ago. I was asked to present a learning component for how I established my independent practice and my office, which was very detailed for other dental hygienists who wanted to start their own independent. I'd not done this before. I had no experience. I didn't know what to expect. So I reached out to a few colleagues and I asked them for their assistance. I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure how I was going to do this, but when it was all said and done, I felt good about it. I had positive feedback, but I believe that I am my own worst critic. Had I known then, I should have recorded it, because that would have actually really helped me to see the difference from the very first time I had done a presentation to now. But I believe that I received all the necessary skills that will help me to continue to improve to be a good educator and health promoter as I continue to present out in the community. Thank you.